into the family. He pours love into the home, so his love can overflow into the world. I want to spend my life mending broken people. I want to spend my life removing pain. Lord, let my words heal a heart that hurts. I want to spend my life mending broken people, so his love can overflow into the world.
God bless you, and thank you so much for stopping in and just making us a part of your Wednesday. And we hope that we can make it the very best part of your Wednesday. In fact, my friend Barbara Kerr has flown here all the way from Gaston, South Carolina, just to do that. She's with Taste of Health Ministries, and she has been cooking up a storm. Let me tell you, what do you think the recipes are about today? You guessed it. She's cooked up a bunch of pumpkin recipes that are going to make your mouth water. In fact, let me tell you what's on the menu today. She's going to be making some pumpkin cheese dip, and we're not talking about real cheese. We're talking about the healthy kind of cheese. Also, imitation beef and pumpkin stew with pomegranates. That sounds gourmet to me. Baked stuffed pumpkins. Also, pumpkin cheesecake in a ginger snap walnut crust, and pumpkin cookies with caramel icing. And we're not talking about the real caramel here. We're talking about the healthy kind of caramel. And I have to admit that I sampled some of these cookies already, and they were absolutely fantastic. You know, you will not find recipes like the ones that you hear about today on any other network. Because here at Three Angels Broadcasting Network, we really put an emphasis on the nutrition as well as the taste. So you're not only getting recipes that taste good, but they really make your body smile on the inside too. They're really nutritional, healthy recipes. So if you want to get a piece of paper and a pen, now's a good time to do it, and you can jot these recipes down, or just give us a call, or check out our website, and our recipes will be listed there. So thank you once again for tuning in, and please stay with us for some great recipes today. You know, since we're talking about pumpkin recipes, I thought I'd share with you a few pumpkin facts. You know, the word pumpkin actually comes from the Greek word pepon, which means large melon. And history brings out that the French changed the Greek word to pompon. And then the English changed the pompon to pompion. You see, Fluffy's really interested in these word facts. And then finally, the American colonists changed it to pumpkin. And I have to say that I'm really glad that they did, because pumpkin just seems to have a really nice ring to it. But pumpkins are actually related to cucumbers and also squash, and they grow on every continent on the face of the earth except Antarctica. And I don't think a whole lot grows in Antarctica anyway. But a pumpkin is considered to be not a vegetable, but it's a fruit. And considering the size of a pumpkin, they really win the biggest fruit award on the planet. And by the way, the biggest pumpkin that was ever grown in the world weighed 1,337.5 pounds, and it was grown in my brother Dave's home state of New Hampshire. So pumpkins very easily win the biggest fruit contest. But the typical pumpkin is orange, but there are also gray pumpkins, which I happen to have one right here. It's rather unique, gray pumpkins, and there's also green, yellow, red, white, and even tan pumpkins. And people use them for a variety of different things all around the world. In fact, in early America, the native Indians used pumpkin as a regular staple in their diets. And when the white settlers came over from Europe and they saw the Indians using the pumpkins, well, they started using them too. And then some of the settlers even took the seeds back to Europe to grow them there, and then they became very popular in Europe in a hurry. The Europeans not only used them for a wide variety of recipes, but they also dried the outside of the pumpkin, and then they would cut them into strips and they would weave them into mats for the floor. So pumpkins have all kinds of ways that you can use them. But the best place for the pumpkin is not on the floor, but it's in your stomach, because pumpkin is just absolutely loaded with beta-carotene, which is converted to vitamin A in the body. And the pumpkin is also a great place to get your potassium, your magnesium, your iron, and also fiber, and a whole lot of other good stuff. So check it out. Don't miss out on some great nutrition and just use your pumpkins for decoration. Just look at them as another great and wonderful gift from a Heavenly Father who loves you so much. In fact, the Bible says it like this in James chapter 1, verse 17. It says, "Every good gift and every perfect gift is from above. It comes down from the Father of all that gives light, in whom there can be no variation." And think about this for a minute. When somebody goes to all the work and effort and time to buy you a gift, and then they bring it to you all wrapped up with a big bow on it, you know, it doesn't really matter what's inside the box, because just by all the thought and care and effort, you know that this gift is a symbol of a whole lot of love that's behind it. And that's how it is with the things that are made by God. As human beings, we could never begin to think to make a pumpkin, but the Creator of the universe put a whole lot of love and thought and care to create pumpkins just for us. And with each and every pumpkin in the world, there's a big message from our Heavenly Father that says, "I love you so much." So as you go about your day today, just stop and look around at all the things that God has made and provided just for you personally. And then take some time to think about all the love and all the care that's behind each and every gift. And when you do, you won't be able to help it. But the joy is just going to take over, and your cup is just going to overflow with the sheer wonder of God's love for you. Father, in Jesus' name, we just want to praise you and thank you so much for all the wonderful things that you have made for us. And we thank you even more for that special message of love that's behind each and every item that you made for us. And I pray, Father, that you will make our hearts much more sensitive than ever before, that we can receive these messages, that we won't take for granted the things around us, but Lord, we will see those messages that you write on them with care and with love for each one of us. And we thank you, Father, for loving us so much, for caring for us so much, that you died on a cross to save us from our sins. We praise you, and we just want to say we love you with all of our hearts today. In the name of Jesus, I pray. Amen. You know, one of my favorite songs in the hymnal is "What a Friend We Have in Jesus." And Jonathan Birchfield has a very special gift that the Lord has given him, and he makes a guitar speak. And he's really going to do that right now as he plays that old favorite, "What a Friend We Have in Jesus." So come on into our living room and listen to this beautiful song. Welcome back to the 3ABN Kitchen, and welcome back, Barb.
Thank you.
It's good to have you
It's
back.
always good to be back here.
Yes, and I tell you, you have been just cooking up a storm.
This is one of my favorite times of the year, and I wish pumpkins were available all year long because I love pumpkin everything.
Oh, me too.
I love just driving by and watching them in the fields, and I miss that when they're gone.
And Barb was an eyewitness to my garden this year where I planted pumpkins.
Yes, I was,
And they all died.
It was
every single one of them. They died in the ground.
Oh.
And I was so disappointed because I went to all this effort to plant a garden, and I even bought, you know, the black paper that you put in between the rows so the weeds won't grow up.
You had big tomato plants.
It was flawless.
It was much better than Danny's. Shh, don't tell him.
But anyway, something started happening because my pumpkins were getting big and growing, and then all of a sudden, they just started shriveling on the vine. Oh. And I started asking people questions, and some people in the area said that there are some mites that actually live in the dirt.
Oh.
And if you have those in your dirt, you have to treat the soil before you plant the pumpkins, which I didn't know about.
Oh.
So my whole crop of pumpkins died this year.
So this is from the store.
That's from the store.
Well, I think they're beautiful, and I was impressed if they had come from your garden.
No.
I still don't have a garden at my house. I mean, we've been in our new house now 3 years, and
You know, I learned something from this experience, though.
yes.
I'm not going to plant a garden anymore. I've decided I'm just too busy. I'm too busy. We're flying almost every weekend. And it was such a disheartening experience.
Well, you know, you have little flower beds in front of your house because you have a porch along there. And I have found that for me, just a section about 8 foot long with some herbs is a good enough garden, at least for now.
Yeah.
You know, once I figure out more of what I'm doing, then
Right. Well, you have a very busy life, too.
I do. And we have all sandy soil, so it makes it difficult. You have to haul in dirt and so,
Right.
you know. But pumpkins are what we've got
But pumpkins
today.
are worth it.
They're so healthy. They're so good for you.
Yes.
They taste great. I remember when Grandma used to make pumpkin pie, but really it was made with squash from her garden. She'd make the squash pie, and I thought it tasted just like pumpkin pie. And so, you know, I've liked it forever, and so we're going to make some really tasty things
I really
today.
like squash, too, and I have a squash story. And since my husband isn't here, I'm going to tell you this squash story, okay?
Okay.
When Dan and I were first married, which was quite a long time ago, he came up to Wisconsin and had dinner with my family up in Wisconsin, and my family was serving squash. Now, the squash that is just cut in half with the orange in the middle, well, unbeknownst to me, my husband had never eaten squash before.
Okay.
And so he started slicing it up and eating orange and green part all together.
He didn't know.
He did not have a clue that you were not supposed to eat the green part. But you know, I bet
funny.
that he's much healthier for it.
No, you didn't stop him, I take it.
Well, after he took a couple bites, I kind of nudged him and said,
Don't
honey,
eat the rind.
Don't eat the rind.
That is a good story.
But you know,
now, I stopped you when we did the Mexican meal from eating the corn husks.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
there were other people that said, "Why didn't you let her take a bite of that?" I said, "Because I like her. She's my friend." So,
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
What goes
I didn't-
around comes
I didn't
around.
want to embarrass you. I would tell you even if you had spinach in your teeth. That's how good of a friend I am.
Thank you. Thank
So,
you.
It takes a good friend to tell you that. We're going to start first with a pumpkin cheese dip, and we're going to put those ingredients up for you now. You're going to need 1 8-ounce container of Tofutti Better Than Cream cheese, 1 cup of solid pack pumpkin, 1/8 cup of dried minced onions, 1 1/4 teaspoon seasoned salt, 2 tablespoons of finely chopped jalapeno pepper, 1 teaspoon vegetarian Worcestershire sauce, 1/4 cup plus 1 tablespoon chopped toasted pecans, and of course you'll need assorted crackers, breadsticks, or raw veggies
All
to
right.
eat the dip with. So, Linda, this is going to be a mixer dish. So I've got a hand mixer plugged in for you there.
Okay.
If you want to pull down, we're just going to put everything into our bowl, and then this might be the day that we actually need
Make a
aprons.
mess?
Yeah.
Well,
Well.
we haven't done it yet, have we? Well, just small messes.
Just small ones, you're right.
We've never made a major mess yet, but you never know what will happen in the 3ABN kitchen.
Well, you know, we don't use the hand mixer a whole lot either, and sometimes, like when I mix something, generally I put the mixing bowl down in my sink, but I thought it would be kind of rude if we turned our backs to everybody for 3 recipes today. So, and then we're going to put in our...
Tell us about this
Good.
better than cream cheese. Now, what is the big difference between better than cream cheese and regular cream cheese?
Well, the Tofutti company has worked very hard to make something that does not have dairy in it. So this is not a sour creamed cream cheese that's made from animal products. That was 1 cup of pumpkin for those of you that were waiting for that ingredient. Now, I personally do not like the taste of this by itself. I don't generally like it in things until it's baked. Once you bake it, then it tastes just like cream cheese for some reason. And so it's one of those things I'd never tried. Like, we're making a pumpkin cheesecake today that is fabulous, and you're going to love it. But I never tried them for years because I didn't think that this would taste like
As
cream
good.
cheese once it was baked. Or if you mix enough things with it, then it has more of the cream cheese flavor. So we've got 1/8 cup of dried minced onion, our 2 tablespoons of finely chopped, and I mean fine,
Finely chopped.
finely chopped jalapenos, 1 1/4 teaspoon seasoned salt, the kind that has no MSG, and this is a vegetarian Worcestershire sauce. And they do make some that does not have anchovy paste in it. You have to get it at your health food store.
Okay.
So that gives it just a little flavor. And then the toasted chopped pecans. Now, I tried this without toasting them, and it didn't have the same flavor. So I would mash this with your beater a little bit first before you know, just, and I'd only put it up 1 notch for a few seconds till we get it mixed in good, and then we'll go
Hey,
ahead.
I'm going to space myself away from this. Let's see, it's not coming on.
Well, is there a power? Oh, wait, here's our problem. Okay,
No
try
power?
it now.
Okay. Here we go.
See, I've solved our problem. Now, after this gets blended very well, let me mix the sides for you. Go ahead and turn that off. Well, I guess we can do that with it on.
Yeah. Oh, that really looks good. It looks like a dip already.
Oh, yeah. You're good. You're done.
I'm done?
You're done?
You know, that
See
was
how
quick.
easy? See how easy that
That was very
Now,
quick.
we've already made our little tray with, I've put Triscuits on there and some breadsticks. I like Triscuits because they're a whole wheat cracker, just lightly salted. Now, this really needs to refrigerate for up to 4 hours because that minced onion that's in there and the flavors that are different need to blend. And then I just garnish it with, right before I'm going to serve it, with a sprinkling of the toasted pecans. And, you know, of course, it doesn't taste the same now as it will after it sits for a little while, but I didn't
May
think you'd
I?
want to wait, so you go right ahead.
Thank you, and I hope John has something ready for me. Okay, I'm going to try it. Mmm.
So you're getting those vitamins. It doesn't taste, this is not a sweet dip. This is your salty, kind of, it'll be a little bit spicy after you
I like
get it
it.
done. So that's
I
our
like it
pumpkin
very
cheese
much.
dip.
John, I'll give you one more chance. That was nice.
Yes.
That was very
So
good.
that
I
is
liked
our-
it very much.
That is our dip, and we'll stick that in the fridge for later. And we have a lot of recipes to cover today, so we're going to move right on to our beef and pumpkin stew with pomegranates. And for this recipe, you're going to need 1 2-pound cooking pumpkin that's peeled, seeded, and diced. You're going to need to cut that into 3/4 inch cubes, which makes about 5½ to 6 cups. 3 tablespoons of Earth Balance margarine, 2 medium large garlic cloves pressed, 1 teaspoon ground turmeric, 1/2 teaspoon ground cumin, 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon cayenne pepper, 2 teaspoons salt divided, 1 package of minute meat beef by Nutri-Line Foods, 5 1/2 plus 2/3 cup of water divided, 1/2 cup Welch's 100% grape juice, 3 poblano chilies, which we've roasted, peeled, and seeded, and 1 pomegranate for garnish. Now, what we're going to do, Linda, to get started, because we're having entirely too much fun.
But you need to tell me what a poblano chili is. I've never heard of a poblano chili.
A poblano chili is this. Well, I brought one that I haven't roasted so that you can see it. It's quite large. Kind of looks like a green pepper shriveled. This is actually a big poblano chili. What I did.
Is that what people in the big city get?
You know, this is about less than half as spicy than jalapeno.
Oh.
So this is a milder chili, but it has a really nice flavor. And since you didn't have, you know, I'm used to my gas stove at home, but all I did today was turn on a burner, and I just set them on there, and I cooked them until they were black on all sides, and then I put them, I couldn't find a paper bag either, so I wrapped them in a paper towel and stuck them inside of my plastic container from my ginger snap box from the cheesecake.
Well, you know, I've never seen one of these in my entire life.
You
I
haven't?
thought it was a green pepper, but really it's quite different than a
Yes, and
than
it
a
is a
green
little
pepper.
bit spicy, and we've roasted it. So, but we're going to start this recipe first and get this going, and then we'll do the next part, because this is a little bit involved. This is 3 tablespoons of Earth Balance, okay? And we're going to saute our spices. So Linda, see if you can pick out the 1 teaspoon of ground turmeric. It's the yellow, yeah, bright yellow. We need our 1/2 teaspoon of ground cumin. And we need our, I'm going to go ahead and do the 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. At home I do a 1/2, because we like, my husband really likes spicy. And we need 1 teaspoon of the salt. And now I need the garlic that you're going to press. I did have a garlic press on there. What did I do with
Yeah, it's right here.
Okay, so take your garlic clove one at a time. We're putting it in with the peel and everything. We're going to see if Linda can spray that right into there. All right, you did good. Let me get a little knife to cut that.
I have got one of these at home.
Oh, you do? Good. You know exactly what to do.
Yep.
Okay, and give us our other
They are
garlic.
so handy. Every kitchen needs one of these.
I think so. I mean, I don't use it every day, but oh, it smells so good. You know, this recipe, I know that was a big one. Do we need to cut it? Look at those muscles. Oh, that's great.
That's the first time I've
that one was
squeezed it and it
big.
came out the other end.
I wondered, because that was awfully big. I thought you did a marvelous job.
Thank you very much.
I wish I could have gotten a close-up of your arms, though. Those biceps were straining.
Oh yeah, the veins were bulging.
That's right.
Okay.
Okay. Now, you know, cumin and turmeric are anti-cancer seasonings.
And garlic too.
Garlic. And, I mean, this is packed full of nutrition. Now we're going to take our pumpkin, which you've already told us about how nutritious it is. And see how we've cut it and cubed it. Let me get a different spoon here. And we just want to coat this, okay? I'll get all the seasonings on the pumpkin. Then we're going to let it saute just till it starts to brown. Now, the thing about pumpkin, even though it's hard, it cooks much faster than potatoes. So you don't want, if you overcook this, your pumpkin is going to be too mushy in your soup. So we're going to let this just simmer for a while like that, and we'll stir it occasionally. Now, over here, we're going to mix up the minute meat, Linda.
Okay.
Let's get rid of some of this. Go ahead and show that. This is from Nutri-Line Foods. And this is what I use instead of the beef in this recipe.
Yeah. This is delicious too. I have to say, I have used this myself at home. It's fantastic.
Now, go ahead and put it in this bowl. Now, the trick about the minute meat is that once you put it in, once you add the water, and the water has to be measured very precisely. You want 2/3 of a cup, okay? Measure this at eye level, because if you get too much, this doesn't hold together. If you get too little, it's going to be too thick. So, get it right, right?
Right.
Okay. So we're going to stir it very quickly because this turns into gluten, and then we're going to knead it for a few seconds and form a little. Okay, go ahead and knead that with your fist and just squeeze it and press it and pound it, whatever you want to do, Linda.
Okay.
Do you have any frustrations and stress?
I
You
do
can put
have
it right on the counter. Yeah.
I do have a few frustrations I need to work out today, so this is
All
a
right,
good time to do it.
Okay, now start forming it so that it goes into like a, you know, a log.
A sausage.
Yeah, kind of like a flat log, about 2 inches wide by an inch or so. That looks good. Now flatten that out a little bit. Now what we're going to do to make the beef part, okay, and I do have a cutting board here, so we need to cut this, not too flat. There, that looks good. I'm going to get my new sharp knife. Just cut this into pieces that are about yay big.
A half inch.
Yeah, you don't want them too thick, but you don't want them too, you know, we want some meat like that. And then I'm going to, as soon as you get those cut, we're going to put them into the pan that we've got warming. Just don't cut your finger or my finger.
I will try not to do that. You know,
You're
it's amazing,
fast.
but I use all 10 of my fingers, and I'd like to keep them.
You know, I actually cut myself upstairs today, and it was on something so stupid. I cut myself on the saran wrap.
The edge.
Yes!
Yeah.
I just ran my finger and I'm like, oh, I've been so careful with my new knives, and here I go and cut myself on the saran wrap. I didn't think that was very intelligent. Okay, so we're gonna put our beef in here, and now we're gonna do something. This is not the normal way you cook the minute wing. I'm going to add a half a cup of water to this. Normally you cook it in about 5 cups of water if you want it to make these great big things. Let's get this turned up. What I do now, because we want this to brown on one side and then I don't cook it with any oil, so it's going to stick a little bit. So you need a good nonstick skillet. And I have some already that are finished, Linda, back there on that plate, and we're going to, because we don't have time to wait for those, but you can see.
Oh, doesn't that look good?
Now just take that same knife, if you would, on the cutting board, Linda, and cut these, because we want this to look like beef in a stew. So cut that in 3 pieces. We want some nice big chunks of of meat in our stew.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're just going to add these in here. And you can see now that the pumpkin is starting to brown a little bit, and boy, does it smell good.
Oh, it sure does.
So when you get those cut up, we're going to put that in. I'm going to add our 5 cups of water to our pumpkins, and then the beef will cook together, and just for about 10 minutes. And then towards the end of the cooking, we're going to cut our poblano chilies into strips and just put them in on the top. Now, we don't use the pomegranate until the very end. Once you've dished the soup up into a bowl, you're just going to garnish each and every bowl with maybe a tablespoon of pomegranate seeds.
That sounds like a gourmet dish. It really does.
Well, you know, I was trying so hard to make this recipe simple, and it had so many steps to begin with that I really wanted to make it simpler. So,
you know, pumpkin is actually mentioned in the Bible.
It is.
Yes, in the book of Jonah, it talks about a gourd, and a pumpkin is a gourd. And it also, the Bible mentions pomegranate too. So this
I knew that one.
This is a Bible recipe.
All right. We can put this in your next Catch the Vision when you do, you know, Bible character
recipes.
food.
Right.
Yeah. So we have our
Look at that color. Isn't that pretty?
This will get very nice. Now we're going to add our extra 1 teaspoon of salt. This will cook with. And this is going to take 10 minutes to simmer. So while we cover this and let this come to a boil, we're going to go ahead, and I'm just going to show you how to rub the poblano. It actually, no, I've got my grape juice, and I'm not going to add it till the end either. And it gives the stew just a little bit more of a meaty look, I guess. Now, you can see that I set these on here, so it works on a non-gas grill as well. And how easily this comes off. Now, this is messy, that's why I've done one, but I wanted to show everyone how simple, really.
So you just
you
take
hear
off the
roasted
skin.
pepper, and it sounds so difficult, but really, removing the skin is not that hard. Now, you don't want to run this underwater, though, because you'll take away the good roasted flavors. But when your fingers get messy, then you want a paper towel or something to wipe them on. So that's done and ready to, see, wasn't that simple?
And that was very
We're
simple.
going to use that same knife again, Linda.
Okay.
Get a paper towel. If you would, just cut this top off, okay? And then, yeah, push that aside. Now cut it, or just, I guess make a slit in the top so we can take those seeds out as well. Okay, and then we'll just pull the seeds out. See how easy that, I mean, that's
very
really
simple. They're all just kind of like in one piece.
So
And then,
now all we're going to do on this chili is we want to cut this just in strips about like that. And we're going to leave them long like that. And that's how we're going to add them in at the very end. So you can do 2 or 3 peppers. Go ahead and do that, and then you can do that other one as well. I want to show you, though, how this is cooking up over here. Once you put this in with the 1/2 cup of water, just let it cook covered until it cooks dry, and then you can start to turn them over. So isn't this fun?
It is very fun.
And not too terribly difficult.
Well, you know, Dan and I travel quite a lot, but when I get a chance to do some home cooking, it's just special because it fills the whole house with an aroma, and it just gives your home such a warm feeling.
Now, have you made any pumpkin pies yet?
Not yet, but I am
Yeah.
planning on it.
Yeah. Now, I've done a couple pumpkin pies, so I didn't make one this time, but I did work on a pumpkin cheesecake that is fabulous.
I bet it is.
So I'm going to go ahead.
Well, Barb, I have to say that you have not made a recipe yet that I have not liked.
Are you sure you're not just teasing me?
You're
being sweet.
No, well, I think it's the red hair. We not
We've got
only
the
have the same color hair, we have the same taste buds, right?
Oh, that must be it. I added my 1/2 cup of grape juice, and if you think that's too weird, you can leave it out. But you know, the sweet in the grape juice and the spicy in the poblano chilies accent each other in flavors. So this is looking good, and I'm going to go ahead and just put our strips of poblano in here. And we're just going to let this finish simmering because it only has a few minutes left, but we're going to move on to our next recipe, and then later we'll dish this up and we'll show you how pretty it is in a bowl with some pomegranate seeds on it. Okay, Linda?
That sounds good.
Okay, good. Let's go on to our next recipe, which are our baked stuffed pumpkins. And if you'll read those ingredients.
Yes, you will need 6 to 7 of the mini pumpkins or gourds, 1 tablespoon of Earth Balance margarine, 1/2 cup of onion diced small, 1 8-ounce package of Morningstar Farms frozen breakfast links processed into crumbs, 1 tablespoon of fresh minced sage, 1 cup cubed Pepperidge Farms herb stuffing processed, 1 tablespoon of fresh minced parsley, 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper, 1/4 teaspoon salt, 3/8 of a cup water, and 1 tablespoon flax meal.
This is a really neat recipe, Linda, and we're going to start by taking the 2-cup glass measuring cup with a 3/8 cup of water, and we stirred the 1 tablespoon of flax meal into it. We've already put it in the microwave, and so it should ding any minute for 2 minutes.
And while
And
we're
then-
waiting for that, we need to show the finished product. Isn't that beautiful? And I really have to say, this is a gourmet soup. It is so different.
Wow,
I'm going to give it a
it's
taste
pretty.
right now.
It's a little spicy,
Is
but
it
it will
spicy
warm
spicy?
you on a cold winter night. And so you can see how the pumpkin's not cooked so much that it's mushy.
That is so
so
fantastic.
I love the flavors.
I'm going to take a piece of pumpkin.
I'm glad you like it. I think it's
That's
very
fantastic.
unusual, very nice. So, and
Really good.
for you. So.
Very good.
Okay, I'm going to put these in here, and if you want to get our flax and water out of the microwave, that's going to be our egg mixture in here. And I'm going to scrape our 1 tablespoon of Earth Balance margarine into our saute pan.
Okay, explain to me how flaxseed and water will make an imitation egg.
That's going to explain itself in a few minutes when you see how gooey it gets.
It gets gooey, huh?
Yeah, hold on just a second. Let's get this sauteing. 1/2 cup of onion. And I've taken 1 box of the Morningstar breakfast links and I've just processed them into crumbles.
Okay.
Because it's difficult for me to come up with something that tastes sausage-like.
Right.
So, you know, very rarely do I use these type of things in the cooking, but I wanted to, for our stuffed pumpkins, I think it's imperative. So we're just going to mix this in good and let it start to brown. And while we do that, then this egg mixture needs to sit for 5 minutes, and then it will get even more ooey and gooey, and that's because this needed egg to bind it, this recipe. It's an adaptation. And it called for egg, it called for sausage, and I've just made those magical little changes. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to stuff the pumpkins. And let's get rid of some of this stuff. We'll just let that set. Okay. We're going to take little mini pumpkins, and I've got pomegranate juice on there. You need a very sharp knife, and I actually brought my, I call this my watermelon knife. I brought it from home because little pumpkins and little gourds are tough. And so I've stuffed gourds, I've stuffed pumpkins, but to cut through them, you want to be careful. You want to take the top quarter off, and then I take a paring knife, and to go around about 1/2 inch from the edge, just so it looks nice and even. And then you just take a melon baller, and we're going to scoop this out.
And
so
they're big enough to make, well,
little
pumpkin seeds. Yeah.
So I'm just going to scrape this out. But what this makes is a nice little bowl for an individual serving of whatever stuffing you want to make for possibly your Thanksgiving meal or something like that. So isn't that cute?
Actually, Barb, one of the reasons I planted that whole garden of pumpkins was for pumpkin seeds. I love pumpkin seeds.
I bet there's a lot in those two right there.
Yeah,
you could probably get
I'm going to take them home.
Now, after this browns, which is doing nicely, and you'd want to get this nice and, oh, there's a nice big piece of sausage. You want to get it nicely browned on all sides, and then we're going to stir it together. I would let this brown a little more at home, but we're going to go ahead and stir it together for the sake of time. Okay. Let me give you a spoon, Linda. Doesn't it smell
Oh, it
delicious?
smells fantastic, yeah.
And this makes the cutest little stuffed pumpkins and gourds. Now we're going to stir in our 1 cup of the Pepperidge Farm cubed herbed seasoned stuffing. They get so specific now. 1 tablespoon of minced fresh parsley and a tablespoon of minced fresh sage really gives it a nice flavor. And how much salt do we have? 1/4 teaspoon of salt and 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne. Just want to get that all mixed in. I love these little bowls you got for me. You are so good to me.
Oh, well, you are so
I
good
saw
to
them up
us.
there in the kitchen this time, like, oh, they're so cute. Claudia would love these. And just, you want to get that mixed really well. Can I reach across you, Linda, and get our egg? I want to give this a stir and see how it's doing.
This is our flaxseed egg.
Yeah. And you want to use the meal. I used to try and take flax seeds and grind them in the blender. What a waste of time. Just get the meal, take a tablespoon to 3/8, and you can see, I mean, it's not quite the 5 minutes, but it's already becoming mucilaginous.
That was a big word.
Yeah, that's
I'm going to have to get my dictionary.
$5 word.
Get it on the program here.
There you go. I love to use new words that my sister doesn't know. She's the vocabulary person, you know, in the family, and of course she knows that because she's a nurse, but every once in a while I'll look up some, you know, really unheard of word, and she'll be like, oh, where did you learn that? You have a sister you compete with? Do you compete with Sherry at all, or does she
no.
compete with you?
Actually, well, she lives clear across country in Washington State, so all we have time to do is appreciate
Just
each other.
love each other.
You know, when we were kids, we probably fought like cats and dogs, but now we just appreciate each other.
Was one of you the good grades girl and the other one? I mean, I got A's and B's, but Sandy was the straight A. You know, she had the...
I think all of us got pretty good grades. I'll tell on my brother and my sister, though. I was the peace lover in the family.
Yes.
And my sister and brother, like, we would go to the grocery store. My mom often would leave us in the back seat, all three of us lined up together. Well, not a good idea. And normally I was in the middle, and my sister would pick a fight with my brother, and pretty soon they'd be just, right over me. And I would be like, help!
Did you ever tattle when Mom came back?
Of course,
Oh,
yes,
you need to be a
of
good
course.
little girl. Now you can see we've mounted this up, and I have a platter there, Linda, if you want to grab it, of the finished pumpkins and the gourds. We can show everybody how
Oh,
nice they look.
this is adorable.
Isn't that beautiful? Now you're going to bake these on, I just used a foil-lined cookie sheet, and I baked them at 350 for 45 to 55 minutes. It just depends, until this becomes soft. Bake the tops along with it. I just put them on their side like that. Now the gourds, I have to warn you, they're harder to cut through the gourd skin, so be very careful. I don't want any injuries for the holidays. And so, you know, we have every...
And they get real soft, just like cooked squash.
So you can serve them. Now, you're not going to eat this as easily as you would eat the pumpkin center, but you can just use this as the serving bowl. And then go ahead and either just, when you serve it, just, I like to leave the top off to the side, but you can put it back on. I think it's prettier off, though, on the individual plates. So that is our stuffed mini pumpkins. And you're going to have to taste this one, too, but we have to get to the cheesecake and the cookies because they are so fabulous. So let's go ahead and put those ingredients up for you now for the cheesecake. For the crust, you're going to need 1½ cups of finely ground ginger snap cookies, 1/2 cup of finely ground walnuts, 1/8 cup of Earth Balance margarine melted. For the filling, you're going to need 3 8-ounce containers of Tofutti Better Than Cream cheese, 1 15-ounce can solid pack pumpkin, 1 1/4 cups milled cane sugar, 1 teaspoon ground ginger, 1 teaspoon ground cinnamon, 1/2 teaspoon freshly grated nutmeg, 2 teaspoons of vanilla, 2 tablespoons Energy egg replacer, 1/4 cup of water, and 1/4 cup of toasted pecans finely chopped. Now this is so yummy. We are going to start now. I tell you, not just any food processor will cut ginger snaps, which I learned as I was going along. So this is our 1½ cups. And I guess I need our 3/4 cup, or no, I'm sorry, this is 1/2 cup of ground walnuts and 1/8 cup of Earth Balance margarine. And there's just enough in there to basically wet the crumbs just a little bit. Now I'm going to mix this into crumbs and then press it down into the base of my 10-inch cheesecake pan. But I want to get you started, Linda, on the filling for our cheesecake. And we've already put our 3 containers of the Tofutti Better Than Cream cheese in there. Go ahead and mix in our 1 1/4 cups of milled cane sugar. And you're just going to blend that and our 1 can of pumpkin until that gets a little creamy, and then we're going to add the rest of the seasonings. Okay? You want to press the ginger snap cookie crust in firmly on the bottom and not go up the sides with it. I hate cheesecakes that have sides. It's a pet peeve. I don't know why. It's just too difficult, I think. I think I'm going to beat you done.
I think you are, too.
I was thinking today...
I'm not going to hurry with this beater, though.
No, I wouldn't either if I were you. You know, if you would just come to my house in Gaston, this cooking stuff that I do would take half the time.
Well,
You know, another set of hands really makes a difference.
That is a true statement. Well, one of these days, you're going to be surprised. I'm going to show up on your doorstep.
I am going to be surprised. You're right. But you will be so welcome. I will have the guest room ready for you. Did I tell you about my new job coming up?
No.
I got hired by Weimar Institute to do a cooking school aboard an 11-night Caribbean cruise.
Oh, my.
Which you can check out on my website to see where we're going to be on what days. But I thought that was kind of an interesting job.
Oh, that sounds fun.
So, and get this, I'm not allowed to go in the kitchen.
You're not allowed to go in the kitchen?
So a chef has to totally prepare my trays and do the dishes. Isn't that a bummer? I thought, you know, I might get really used to this kind of cooking school. Now let's go ahead and put the seasonings in. You can, let's see, we've got, now I grated this out of my nutmeg mill. You can buy it at the store that way. So that's our half a teaspoon of nutmeg, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, ground cinnamon, and 1 teaspoon of fresh ginger. Once your spices get to be more than a year old, you really should consider replacing them. And 2 teaspoons of vanilla because they don't have quite the same, flavor. You do not need to pre-bake this crust. I'm getting really hungry, you know that? Oh, I need to whip up our Energy Egg Replacer, which was 2 tablespoons. And we're just going to pour 1/4 cup of water into this. It'll be the last thing we add to your mixture, Linda. You just want to beat this with a whisk until it gets foamy. Ambidextrous.
Yeah. I can walk and chew gum at the same time.
Okay, see how this has gotten nice and light and foamy? Pour that in here. And that will be our egg inside the cheesecake. Okay, as soon as you get that mixed in, we're ready to pour it in our crust. I was wondering how far you were going to pull that up.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you scared me. Okay.
And one of the rules of the 3ABN kitchen is it's okay to lick the bowl.
That's right. And you know what? Without any dairy in it, no real egg, it's not dangerous. You don't have to worry about the salmonella.
That's right.
So, you're going to bake this cheesecake for 1 hour and 15 minutes at 350 degrees. I'm going to sprinkle it with our pecans there, Linda, for topping. And if you want to get the finished one out of the fridge, it is beautiful. Now, if you don't want the pecans on it, that's fine. You can leave that off. Oops. Trying to do it fast.
Oh, this looks
Isn't
good
that gorgeous?
enough to eat.
It is delicious.
You know, this looks like one of those expensive desserts that you would get in a
Yes, it is.
big city like New York City at a fancy hotel.
About $4.95 a slice. But it
At
costs
least.
just a fraction of that to make it. So we hope you enjoy that, and that will
Fantastic.
really add to your fall treats for something special. So, and after you bake it, you're going to want to refrigerate it for at least 4 hours before you serve it, because no cheesecake is really tasty until it's nice and icebox cold. So
Okay.
now we're ready for my husband's favorite, pumpkin cookies.
Sounds good.
Linda, would you like to read those ingredients for us?
Yes, and you will need 1/2 cup of Earth Balance margarine, 1 cup of milled cane sugar, 1 cup of solid packed pumpkin, 1 teaspoon Rumford's baking powder, 1 teaspoon vanilla, 1/8 of a teaspoon salt, 1 teaspoon baking soda, and also 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon and 2 cups of whole wheat pastry flour. For the caramel icing, you will need 1/2 cup of Earth Balance margarine, 1/2 cup of the French vanilla silk creamer, and 1 cup of sucanat.
Okay, now I know you want to take a little taste off that cheesecake before we start on the cookies. So you'll have to taste it quickly, even though you want to savor every...
Well, it really does have my name on it. It's a winner. It really is.
It's nice and creamy and
Fantastic.
pumpkin. I like it. But this was Bill's favorite, so he loves pumpkin cookies, and it was his request that, boy, it kind of got solid. You'd think we were in the South. That was 1 cup of milled cane and 1 cup of canned solid pack pumpkin. You do not want to use a pumpkin pie mix because that already has sugar in it. And then
So Bill said you had to make this on the program, huh?
yeah, I was needing another recipe. He's like, well, make pumpkin cookies, of course, they're my favorite. It's like the only way he likes pumpkin. He hates pumpkin pie, so I get to eat all those yummy things. Now we're gonna take the hand mixer again, Linda.
Okay.
This is your hand mixer day, okay? So just go ahead and...
Well, it's been okay so far.
Yeah, I noticed
I've
you're
been
standing
careful.
way back. And then... I think you're doing great. Whoops. Okay, now while you're doing that, I'm just going to add our 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, our 1/8 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of Rumford's baking powder, and 1 teaspoon of soda. And how much? 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Now, as soon as you've got all of that, put that off the sides for you. Now turn that off just while we add our 2 cups of flour. Now these are so good, you're going to probably want to double this recipe at home. And then you're just going to...
It's a quick recipe.
Yes, it's very fast. And you just want to go ahead and stir the... You can show our finished ones.
So all you have to do is stir those up, and how long do you bake them in
You're
the
going to
oven?
use a 2 tablespoon scoop on a baking sheet, and I bake them at 350, and if you have a regular baking sheet, probably 9 to 11 minutes. If you have a baking stone, it's going to be closer to 13 to 15 minutes. So bake them. I flatten them slightly on the pan, and then for the icing, when you cook it on the stove, you want to bring it to 260 degrees. Let it cool a minute, and then just spread it on here, and it will get firm on the top. So,
And they're fantastic. Well, don't go away. We're going to take a short break.
If you'd like more information on how to obtain Barbara Kerr's cookbook, A Taste of Health, please have a pen and paper ready to take down the following information. You may contact her by writing to Taste of Health Ministries, Post Office Box 38, Gaston, South Carolina, 29053. That's Taste of Health Ministries, Post Office Box 38, Gaston, South Carolina, 29053. Or call her at 803-936-1714. That's 803-936-1714. Visit her website for recipes, news, and a whole lot more at tasteofhealth.net. That's tasteofhealth.net.
Well, Barb, you put a lot of work and effort into it, but I tell you, you did a fantastic job. This is a feast fit for a king. And you know what they say about good food? You got to share it with a friend.
that's right.
And we hope that you do that today. And until next time, may the Lord richly bless you abundantly more than you could ever ask or think.
Thank you for being our family.
Thank you for being our friends.
May God bless and keep